Snow fencing, hanging continuous fence panels in Red Lodge, Montana. This project's down an unmaintained road, so it's like under a pretty good time crunch to get it done. I normally wouldn't work in weather like this, but the clock is ticking, so I had to. Um, it took some time today to take some time to do it right. This is a different panel than I'm used to, and quite frankly, I don't like them, and I won't be using them again. Um, Instead of there is a top and bottom to these rails, so the bottom is a 10.5 and the bottom is an 11.25 spacing, or vice versa. I forget which. I think the smaller spacing is on the bottom. And there I'm measuring to figure out which way it goes, which means that they only go one way, which means it takes 10% more work to figure out how each panel goes. And everybody else's panels are consistent spacing. So it's a lot faster to use everybody else's panel. And they're the same. In fact, they're probably a little bit better. I won't mention who built these panels out of respect for them, but hopefully they figure it out and get their poop in a group because that's annoying. I'm welding these panels to clips and occasionally to the post, and I do that so that it's a little easier to weld thicker metal to thicker metal versus thinner metal to thinner metal. Continuous panels are great for any fence that needs to be low maintenance and look good. Mostly low maintenance because elk don't destroy it, snow doesn't destroy it, it never needs stretched, and in this dry climate, it's going to last a long time before it starts to rust out. Probably my lifetime. Um, Getting these panels across is always a trick. They're always hard to handle, and snow makes everything worse. And I'm also lazy, so trying to stake them in as close as possible with the machine because who really wants to lift stuff? Um, Getting everything aligned and tight and good to go. There, I'm adjusting to height to try and make everything flow good with the ground and look as good as possible. Um, this is a 20-foot panels with post at 10-foot spacing. I'm welding clips on the top and bottom rails on every single post. The middle two just kind of float on a 4 rail. On a 5 rail, I would use 3 clips per post, and 2 out of the 3 would just float. And it makes a pretty stout fence, especially something like this where the cows would be pushing in, so they're pushing against the post. Um, I'm welding 3 sides of the top of the clip and 2 sides of the bottom, so I'm not trying to weld overhead, and it makes for a pretty good stout clip. Um, I would have preferred the actual welding clips, but I had the bolt-on clips, which are a little more work, but it worked. I make it work. Um, this project has been particularly difficult because of the snow and the hard rock in this ground. And I don't know if I mentioned before, but this ground here, the best way I can describe it is if you dug a hole to bury, say, a 55-gallon drum for whatever reason, and you dug the hole, so 55-gallon drum, plan to put a foot of dirt on top, you wouldn't have a foot of dirt on top without using rocks. Um, if you separated all the rocks out and you started to fill with soil, it just wouldn't work. There's not enough soil here, so it makes for a really tough ground to drive. And occasionally, you put a little kink or a little tiny bend in a post, and there's nothing you can do about it, um, other than stop right there so they don't get any worse. Um, I set my post a little bit shy of exactly 10 feet because I'd rather be short than long. Um, this project, and their track comes off the machine, and that'll come into play later because this is the last project those tracks will do because I destroyed them later on. Um, Next day, getting set up. I might even be a couple days later. In fact, it was probably a couple days later. because, well, it got really windy and the snow blew away, and we can't do that um, because that's annoying. We don't work in we can't work in wind here because, especially on an unmaintained road like this, if you get snowed in, you're stuck. If you get stuck, you're stuck. And with a big truck like mine, you can't just call a light wrecker. You got to call a heavy, and they won't send a heavy out on a road like I need to go. So I would probably be driving my tractor a 100-mile round trip to go pull myself out because I'm cheap like that. So this is 15 times speed on the video, just going to give you a perspective of the speed we're actually going. And yeah, it turns out pretty good. Um, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but I use 2 clips per post on this. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. The videos will be getting better, hopefully soon, as I learn this editing part of the job. It's not my strong suit. That's what the problem with these panels are, is you have to put them in a certain way, and sometimes you have to turn them end for end and over for over, and it's just a pain in the keister. This project could have a beautiful view just beyond the TrackManer machine. It drops off probably 300 feet, 400 feet in elevation into this huge, beautiful valley, and overlooks thousands of acres. Well, anyhow, thanks for watching. We're gonna end here and because it kind of abruptly ends when the camera ends at the end. But thanks for watching. Hopefully, this inspires you to subscribe and like and comment and all the things to help me build my um, audience so that I can hire somebody to do this part, because I'm sure even a Fiverr guy would be way better than I am at doing this. This is what's in the budget right now. So we're trying to get some YouTube following and get some traction and see if we can grow the business, um, which is a challenge sometimes because I'm not a very good camera person, but I'm learning. Um, I think that this is filmed on a GoPro, and I'm pretty sure it is a bit of a fisheye effect on that lens, because there's not that many bowed posts like the one you're looking at. It's yeah, it's a fishbowl effect, and that's my story. So here we're moving and heading up. It's starting to get dark, so we're trying to get a load of stuff out because I realized my other trailer wasn't going out that day because I forgot chains and binders. Um, so we're unloading this, and we made this trailer take it home. And there was a pile of OSB that was not very good, but I had have some plans for, I should say, and so I'm hauling it home. It's not, you wouldn't put it on your house. It's just need something temporary, you know. So it worked, and we're hauling it home. And this is where I absolutely destroyed my final skid steer track and trash one. And they start coming off right there. They come off yeah, they're just getting, I lost enough grousers to where they can't hold tension. Once you lose one, you start to lose others. I managed to get the job done. I don't know how, but yeah, we're here, and something's not right because the video is still playing, and it's not showing up. But that's it. Have a good day.